general story of Northern Europe. But for those of you that don't know anything about Denmark, kind of the most famous squad in Denmark, and I would argue one of the most famous squads or autonomous areas in Europe is a place called Christiania, or they call it Freetown Christiania, which was squatted in 1971. And until this day, it's an area of about 34 hectares in the inner city on these former military modes that was squatted by a group of hippies, students, and kind of squatters that had come from earlier in the mid-60s in Denmark. You already had a squatter movement which was called the slum stormers, people that inhabited empty standing houses that had been condemned for demolition and kind of created alternative forms of living there. So Christiania is kind of the most famous. It has in its now 42-year existence obviously gone through cycles of problems, internal as well as external, fighting the state, but then also fighting with different actors that are involved. There's 850 people that live there permanently and thousands of people that come every day to visit, to work there, to have workshops, and also just to see what it is like to live in a self-organized community. And it was in 2011 that Denmark also had, since the early 2000s, a conservative government with Anders Fogh Rasmussen, who joined the United States in the coalition of the willing, invading Iraq and Afghanistan. And they also, on a domestic level, had normalization policies, normalization in the sense that they wanted to make Christiania kind of abide by real estate laws that otherwise govern the city, which forced the community, up until then they had been granted a kind of status as a social experiment, which was then revoked, and it went to the High Court, and they were forced to buy the entire area for, I think it was about 18 million krona, which is actually not that much money. It's like 2 million euros for 34 hectares right within Copenhagen center is really not that much. So what they started was kind of a collective campaign of buying the space and buying the area, so where everyone can buy kind of like a brick or like a stock, and it becomes collectively owned. And until this day, it still remains. I brought this tape of Christiania. This is the logo, which I thought was kind of funny because to a certain extent, the logo of Christiania has also become kind of a brand, which can be seen kind of positively or negatively, but it's really given them the chance to market themselves, and it continues to be until today Copenhagen's largest and most visited tourist attraction, which maybe also has something to do with the fact that there's a flourishing hash market there, which obviously also brings problems with it. In the 80s, there were very severe problems with not only the sale of hash, but also destructive drugs such as cocaine, ecstasy, and heroin, where there was one incident where 8 people died from heroin overdoses, and they became really strict about only really allowing the sale of hash or marijuana. And this sale obviously is then also controlled, not by the hippies who first squatted it, but by a whole array of pushers who actually make quite a lot of money by selling these things. And that's also what I think attracts a lot of people. So this is kind of a poster from 1996, which is celebrating Christiania's birthday. I guess in that year it was, 25 years old. This is a poster of the Green Hall in Christiania, which is a big warehouse. And the story of the Green Hall is actually really nice because it's a big recycling center. And it's also the place where most people in Christiania can buy tools, can buy materials in order to fix their houses. And yeah, kind of a community center where you can have your things. So like I said, there's over 800 people that live there. There are no building codes that persist, so you have really crazy and extravagant architecture. People build houses from anything, the kind of things that are architecture that you otherwise wouldn't find in the city. You guys are welcome to look through this later as well. There's galleries, there's workshops, there's a self-organized kindergarten, a bathhouse, and their own postal system, their own trash system. They are plugged into the city's electrical system, but most of the houses are they use wood to heat the houses in the winter. So a lot of people actually have kind of agreements with people in the countryside to import wood. So it's really based on these like local economies. They have a really vibrant concert scene, and I think 4 really big concert halls that also offer kind of culture and music at low cost. This is a poster for Bo Diddley, who's an American artist who was part of Muddy Waters. And then this is for a gallery in Galerie, which is a gallery exhibition where also artists that live in Christiania have the opportunity to exhibit their work. This is kind of a statement formulated by the Christiania's Cultural Association, and depicts the situation as it was in 2015, kind of the things to know, and what's going on right now. Whereas this, for example, is a press release from 1998, which shows that actually the majority of people living there do want a legalization of the hash market, but are opposed to what you can consider kind of death drugs. So, yeah. So that's Christiania. If you guys ever want to come to Copenhagen, you can take a tour of Christiania. It's really nice. It's really nice in the summers. In the winters, it's kind of a different world since it's a Nordic country, and like in the winter, Christiania is kind of defined by these